this episode of Statistics, we're gonna look at the 10 best places to buy a house in 2024 according to realtor.com. And now, before we get into this, let me explain why these are the best places. The houses in these cities, the value is not gonna drop. Or if it drops, then it's just gonna drop a tiny bit. So if you buy a house today and you wanna sell it in 4 or 5 years, the value of it is not gonna drop. So it's probably gonna go up and then you're gonna make money on it. For example, right now I'm in Florida, and if I buy a house for $500,000, which is what I like, that's not a realistic price. That's like the average price right now because of the market gone up so bad, but that's not realistic. So if I buy this $500,000 house and the market finally drops and stabilizes, because it's just not realistic for Florida. I mean, other than Miami doesn't count, but like in 4 years the value of the house is not gonna be anywhere near 500,000. So if I want to sell, it's gonna probably go for like maybe 400,000. Then I lose 100,000 instead of making 100,000. So these cities, apparently the market's not gonna drop. So from this list, I've actually lived in one of these at number 10, and that's accurate. Number 1, I don't know. Number 1, you guys gotta let me know, is this accurate? Because I was very surprised, even shocked that number 1 is in this state. So number 10, I lived in Huntington Beach and I also lived in Irvine. That's Orange County, right below Los Angeles. So number 10 is basically Los Angeles County. So Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Anaheim, California, they're kind of like Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Anaheim is like right here. So in that same area, Orange County. Anaheim is where Disneyland is. So I think probably that's why Anaheim is pretty pricey. Long Beach is close to the beach, big party city. Big crime too, of course, but there are some beautiful houses there. There are hills and wow. Los Angeles, we all know why. Number 9, Grand Rapids, Kentwood, Michigan. So these 2 cities in Michigan. Number 8, Worcester, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Doesn't surprise me. Connecticut's always been pricey, so I think the reason why good places, because Connecticut is a pretty nice state. I think these, and California and New York, I think the reason why they keep it so high is because if it went low, more people would come. If these states were affordable, more people would come in, and that would just, there's no space for them. There's no space for more people. So I think that's why California and New York keeps their real estate price so high, so that they can kind of control the amount of people living in it, but people still come in and they find a way. But imagine if it was cheaper, then it would just be so overpopulated. It already is. Imagine if the house prices dropped by 30% in California, millions of people would come in. And if you live in California, you know that's not a good thing. Okay, next one, Springfield, Massachusetts. Number 6, Bakersfield, California. And for this one and the next one, I have a theory. Next one, number 5, is Riverside, San Bernardino, and Ontario, California. And here's my theory. So California is pretty old. And when people started to come live in California, they built by the ocean on the coast. So there's a lot of houses by the coast that are really old, and for new homes there's no land. So to grow, because people are coming in, for the city to grow, they have to grow outside. So all the new construction houses in California are outside, like towards more inland, towards Nevada, Riverside. I remember, I think in 2021, there were new construction houses for sale in Riverside for 500,000. Should have bought one. But here's my tip. If you live in Riverside or Corona, it's best that you have a job that's in that location. Because if you have a full-time job in Los Angeles or Orange County, you're gonna spend half of your day in traffic, because once Los Angeles and Orange County ends and then Riverside starts, in between there are mountains, and there's man-made highways that go through the mountains, and the traffic there is worse than a 405 in Los Angeles. It's so bad. It could take you 3 hours to get home from work in rush hour, if not 4. So that's something you have to consider. If you buy a house in Riverside, one, either get a job that's in your area and not in LA or OC, or just be prepared to commute a lot. Number 4, San Diego, Chula Vista, Carlsbad, and California. Okay, Carlsbad, that ain't cheap. So of course, the value of the house is not gonna drop. Carlsbad is expensive, and it's right on the beach. If you can afford to buy a house here, you're definitely gonna make money in a few years when you sell it, because yeah, you're not gonna find anything under $1 million, or maybe even under 2 million. It's crazy, but it's so nice, so nice. So if you can't afford to buy a house in Carlsbad, you might as well want to live there for the rest of your life. Number 3 is Rochester, New York. I don't know anything about it, but I'm pretty sure it's expensive, and that's why the value of it is not gonna drop. And number 2 is Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, and Ventura, California. Now, Thousand Oaks is past Los Angeles, and like I said earlier, California and other states normally, like around bigger cities, they expand outside. All the new construction building that they can build for people to live in, it's all outside towards more inland. So Thousand Oaks is a very nice area. A little bit of drive if you want to go to LA, but not as bad as from Riverside. But honestly, pretty much anything in California, the value is not gonna drop, probably ever, unfortunately. Otherwise, we would all buy a house there. Number 1, Toledo, Ohio. Ohio is number 1. Where is this located? Oh, it's just below the border of Michigan. Like, it's literally on the border of Michigan. Pretty close to Detroit. Looks like a big city. Not as big as Detroit, but like a little bit bigger city. Let me see the average price for a house in Toledo, Ohio. For sale, let's put 3-bedroom house. There's some nice houses, but there's some ghetto looking houses too. What was it? This house was built in 1887. The 18th century? For $124,000. Like, that is not a nice looking house, I'm sorry. The value of this is not gonna drop. What's the square footage? For a 3-bedroom house, it's 878 square feet. And you're saying that the value is gonna go up? Why? Is there something there? Like, there's some average houses for 300,000. There's a house for 55,000. There's a lot of houses for sale. There's a lot of houses from the 1900s. I mean, there's, this is nice. $649,000 for a bedroom house. So there's a mix of not nice houses, middle houses, and there's some really good houses. I don't know. I don't know anything about Toledo, Ohio, so I don't know enough to have an opinion. But that was the list. And it's from realtors.com, not just some person made it up. but it says the top market for the 2024 areas where we expect to see sales and prices grow most next year among the 100 US metro cities. That was it. That was it for this video. Toledo, Ohio is the #1 best place to buy a home, where the value is gonna go up and that you can sell it in a few years to make some money. What do you think? Do you agree with this list? I mean, I feel like it's all like really nice states, really expensive, wow states. I mean, California, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and then there's Ohio on the very top. Yeah, okay, that was it. Thank you for watching.